malfunction.
What does early anorexia look like? In the beginning stages of anorexia, you may see personality and behavior changes, followed soon by weight loss.
It's basically characterized by a desire to decrease your body weight, a fear of fatness, although that can be absent in very young children and in some boys, by a relentless pursuit of thinness, usually through dieting, but also through exercise, and sometimes through the ingestion of materials that make the person feel as if they were becoming lighter, such as laxatives. What anorexia looks like depends on if you're the mother or father or you're the pediatrician. The most common way for a child with anorexia nervosa to present to the pediatrician is actually syncope or fainting. To a parent, anorexia nervosa presents somewhat differently. I would say most commonly it starts with an apparent disinterest in eating food. Although they are secretly very fascinated by food, in fact, they may begin shopping, cooking, clipping food coupons, watching television shows that are related to cooking. They rarely eat what they cook.
First of all, they become secretive, maybe withdrawn, where someone's been very social, very active in their family. All of a sudden, they're reclusive, more time in their room, isolated, agitated. A lot of families talk about how pleasant their child is, and then all of a sudden how irritated they seem to be. Kids would say, "I'm annoyed with my parents." So squabbles about things that really aren't important or don't seem to be. Everyone kind of on edge all the time.
You know, so this is not in her character. This is not, you know, she wasn't acting the way that she used to be. People will say when their child gets into remission, parents will often say, I feel like I have my child back, you know. So it really changes their personality in a way.
Presentation in boys is a little bit different. The boys really focus on being buff. They talk a lot about the six-pack stomach. I want that cut look. A lot of men's magazines have that guy on the cover, and I think it's always like the same 2 or 3 guys that just kind of recycle themselves. And the girls will focus on being thin because thin's attractive. The boys focus on thin because it's fit.
It starts to dawn on you that a child that you've known for a year and a half is wasting away very slowly, and you start trying to bring up the subject, and you realize that you see looks pass between the daughter and the mother. You see that there's been some tension between them about eating, and when the subject comes up, it's often a sore subject between the parents and their children already.
You have absolutely no idea what's going on. I mean, when somebody tells you that, you don't believe it, you don't want to believe it. I mean, even when you think about it hard, you can't even understand why they're saying that. It's really to a point of extreme set of denial. I don't know how to really explain it, but it's like you're sick yet you don't feel like it at all.
Most kids pretty early on know. They do know. They don't want to know, or they go into this great state of denial. But when you explore it with the kids, most of them say, yeah, I knew pretty quickly I had a problem. I didn't want to admit that I had a problem. I'm certainly not going to admit it to my parents.
I find that if they've lost a lot of weight over the course of a year, I can sit down and talk to them about eating more for energy, but I've got to say that, you know, a week goes by and I'm talking with the parents by phone, you know, in follow-up just to see how it's going, and, you know, and now they're fighting every night at the dinner table, you know, and now he doesn't want to eat with the family anymore because he says that he's under a microscope for what he eats.
How does a child with anorexia act around food? Anorexia strips the child of their ability to self-regulate the types and amount of food they'll eat. The child is driven to drastically reduce calories far below what is necessary to sustain life. This is the basic action of anorexia.
I do remember about that time Maria stopped wanting school lunches. She wanted to pack a sack lunch, and it would be a sandwich and a piece of fruit. And I kind of asked her, you know, are you eating what we send you in your lunch? Yeah, pretty much, you know, but it was a abrupt end to the school lunches and the variety that provides.
It's often hard to distinguish good and healthy exercise from obsessive compulsive exercise meant only to burn calories. While adults exercise for health and strength, children need to play and have fun. While there may be goal setting, competition, and high achievement in compulsive or compensatory exercise, there's rarely much fun.
In a lot of the cases, exercise will show up. Compensatory exercise, meaning if the child eats a normal dinner, they may feel the need to exercise for a certain amount of time to burn that off, get rid of that food.
A lot of the families are for it initially. Wow, this is a great thing, it's a healthy thing. She used to just sit around the couch and watch TV, and now she's out running 5 miles a day, and isn't that wonderful? What they're not aware of is what happens outside of the 5 miles a day. Exercise in the room, you run 5 miles a day, and then you come home and do an hour on the treadmill. And then our society sees that as a very positive thing. We're active, and we should be. There's a line that kids cross, and it's not always seen very well.
You know, a child can be very sick with an eating disorder and performing at a remarkably high level in their sport. And that's when it's hard, because you as a physician can see it because of vital signs and other things. But from the outside, the child looks like they're performing as well as ever. That 14-year-old boy, he was the top scorer on his basketball team, and he was fainting every day.
You can be a marathon runner and still be healthy, no matter what the look is. What people don't understand is marathon runners take in a lot of calories. You burn a lot of calories, you replace a lot of calories. There's a balance there. The kids with anorexia, that balance is gone. You burn a lot of calories and you don't balance it with the proper intake of calories.